How do you handle disappointment? That's what we're going to talk about today on the Conquering Everest podcast. This is episode number 7. Welcome to the Conquering Everest podcast. My name is Brian Talor, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending a little bit of your day here with me. Now, I'm pretty excited today because today, I've got 6 now. This is my 7th episode, and I got a comment from a fan, a listener out in Germany, and if you're listening, I just appreciate it so much. You made my day sending me your comment, and it's nice to know that my words. I'm just a regular guy, right? I'm just a regular guy that's lived irregular life. I'm gonna say, because I've been through a lot and I've learned a lot. And as much as I've been through, I've always said it to myself: if I could just if I can make one person smile, if I can make one person, if I can encourage one person, if I could inspire one person, that's good enough for me. Whatever it takes. I like helping people, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm by no means a guru in anything. Like I said, I'm just a regular guy that's lived a fairly irregular life, and, coming out here to share my stories with you. Now, today, I want to talk a little bit about disappointment. More specifically, I want to ask you, how do you handle disappointment? See, I don't handle it very gracefully at all. There is usually a minimum of 3 days worth of pouting when I don't get my way. And I don't know, men out there listening, are you that same way, right? Do you pout? I mean, come on. You don't have to. No shame in admitting it. I've throughout my life, as I've watched people go through ups and downs, I've always found it fairly interesting that the men seem to take it harder than the women in most cases. That's just my experience. I'm not saying that's the way it is. But, us guys, we get sick and we're laying in bed and it's a common cold, but we're acting like, it's the end of the world. Could you bring me some water? Could you bring me some chicken soup? And the women, they get sick. They just up and at it. It's another day. They just got to go through it. So women, you're strong. You're beautiful. I appreciate you. And, y'all inspire me more and more every day. But disappointment, we all handle it differently. And you know what? Men, women, anybody. Dogs. I see disappointment in my dog's face when I won't play ball with them, right? He gets disappointed. He lowers his head. His eyes soften. He pouts. We don't like disappointment. That's just how we're wired. Disappointment brings on a whole onslaught of emotion. Everything from just raw sadness to anger to jealousy to insecurity. I guess it just depends on what level the disappointment is, right? You don't get to eat some ice cream after dinner. Okay, you could probably get over that fairly quickly, but you're not able to get that loan you need, right? You need that loan to get that, get this opportunity going, or to get that card that's going to open some opportunities. Or maybe, you stand up. Maybe you're a speaker. You stand up and you didn't, that joke didn't quite land the way you hoped it would land. And maybe you didn't get the feedback that you wanted to get. But we have to be careful, right? We have to be careful that we don't allow our disappointments to instill fear in us. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to, just put that bug in your ear. And I'm going to tell you a story. This happened to me here recently, and it was very disappointing. It was very, very disappointing. I'm talking the 3 days of pouting, disappointing. So I work in a technical field, and it's a pretty high demand field, industry, if you would. And so, yeah, no, podcasting is not, I do this out of, passion to help others. I work because I've got to pay some bills. But, hey, it is what it is. But I do like what I do. But nonetheless, I work in this industry. It's pretty complex, and there's a high demand. And I switched jobs about a year ago, a little over a year ago, actually almost. It's been about a year and a half, and that job it wasn't doing it for me, right? There was just a lot of chaos and just a lot of things that I'm not going to go into on this here podcast. But let's just say, the job didn't fit me real well. Now, that wasn't what I was disappointed about. I had made the determination that, I need to move on, right? I've been in this job for a year and a half. It's not quite my cup of tea, so let me see what's out there. And I look out there and I see a job. It's a job I've done before, right? So I've got experience. I know the tools. I know everything. I know how to function in that capacity. So I put in an application, a resume for the job. And in my mind, there was just no way that somebody was not going to hire me for a job that I used to do. A job that I helped, write documentation for, This is all within the same company. And so I just waited. I would sit back and I was waiting. I was waiting for that day that I got the notification that I was selected for interview and, schedule the day and the time and get myself prepared, right? Go in there and just wow them. Well, I waited and I waited and I waited. And then I got the email. Sorry, we're moving in a different direction. Like, I didn't even get an interview. I didn't get an interview for a job that I had experience, like firsthand, intimate experience with. I didn't get an interview. You want to talk about disappointment? First, there was shock. I was reading that email and I'm like, this is a mistake. They sent this to the wrong Brian. Man, this has got to be a mistake. And then after shock, there was just this moment of sadness. Because I'm like, in my mind, I already had the job, right? I already did it. I used to do that job. There was no way that I wouldn't get that job, and I didn't. And so then I was just sad. So shock, and then I hit the sadness. Then I got mad. And I'm like, what? Like, how dare they don't interview me for a job I used to have that I even wrote some of the documentation and the things that they, like, you're not going to interview. What? Excuse me. And then the insecurity set in. Why didn't they select me for an interview? What's the hang up? What did I do wrong? What do I not have to offer? Like, to be in a situation where you think the job is yours because of your experience and knowledge, and then no, you don't even get to interview. You don't even get to try to sell yourself. And so I got angry, and then I got insecure, and then there was this moment. And you got to be careful. It's always there. I believe it's always there for all of us. And when you're starting to go through those different waves of emotion because of the disappointment, then there's this little part in you that goes, forget it then. Like, I don't need it. I don't want that job. Forget it. I'll never put in another resume for that in that job again or that company. You start to doubt yourself. And that's the fear starting to creep in, right? The fear of failure, the fear of disappointment. And once that fear sets in, then it's paralysis, right? You've come to this point where you've scared yourself and you're convinced you'll never go for whatever that was, whatever it was that disappointed you. Maybe it was a bad relationship and, now you've gone through a divorce and you're like, there's no way I'm never getting married again. That's fear talking. Your next marriage could be the best thing that happened to you and that other person. And who knows how many more people it impacts, right? Or, you didn't get the loan, so you can't start up the business. That's okay. You know what? Maybe you need to go out there and hustle. Do some DoorDash. I love DoorDash. Order my food, bring it right to me. I've door dashed before. I've been a driver. I've been a delivery driver. When I needed to pay bills, I got out and I did what I had to do. So maybe you don't get a loan, but you know what? There's ways to earn money. There's ways to get there without a bank. Or maybe you didn't get a job like me, and now fear set in and the paralysis occurs, and you're just like, I'm done. I'm done with this job. I'm done with this industry. I'm walking away. I'm just going to, I just want to disappear, right? What we have to realize is that when that fear, that paralysis, the desire to give up, the desire to walk away so that you don't have to feel that again or experience that again, we don't realize in that moment in time that we might be giving up on something, or we are giving up on something that's obviously meant a lot to us, right? If it didn't mean that much to us, we wouldn't be disappointed. I mean, not to that level. Maybe you don't, McDonald's screws up your order, you're disappointed, but you're not going to go home and sit in a dark closet and cry, right? You're just going to, bitch and moan for a little bit, and like, they didn't give me my barbecue sauce for my nuggets. Not that big of a deal, right? Maybe it is. Maybe for some of y'all out there, not getting barbecue sauce for your nuggets, that might be your trigger, and there's nothing wrong with that. If it is, you got to work through it, just like any other disappointment. You don't want to rob the world of something great. And what I mean by that is you have something to offer, right? And if you walk away from an opportunity, or you walk away from something because you got disappointed and you let yourself get to that level of giving up, that level of letting fear creep in and causing you to doubt yourself, if you what if you stuck with it? What if maybe you didn't get it the first time, you didn't get it the second time, maybe you didn't even get it the third time, but on that fourth time, whatever it is, whatever it was that you wanted, it's now yours, and you're going to do amazing things with it. So you can't turn away. You can't walk. You can't let fear and insecurities win. When you're disappointed, you got to work through that, right? You've got to go through the emotions. Make sure you've got a good support staff around you, right? And I'm not saying pay them, but friends, families, loved ones. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. Now, I learned a long time. Now, like I said, I'm not perfect. I still pout. But by the end of that third day, these words come into my mind. So I used to have a boss many, many moons ago, and I was trying to get a job, and I didn't get it. So it's a very similar situation. And I was extremely disappointed, and I was doubting myself, and I was telling him, I'm not even going to try for it. Like, obviously that's not the path for me. I need to go down, the right lane, not the left lane. And he says, listen, hey, Brian, take 15 minutes. Go take a 15-minute break, and I want you to cry. I want you to yell. I want you to scream. I want you to be pissed off. And at the end of that 15 minutes, I want you to pick yourself back up and keep moving forward. And those words have stuck with me in the way, I wish you could be there to hear it, because the tenacity and the passion in his voice, he knew if I walked away, not only was I giving up on my dream and letting fears and insecurities win, but he knew that the world would never get to experience whatever it was. Many of us don't know, and we won't know until, that one magical day. But, I'd be walking away from something that this world needed. And so I've carried his words with me ever since. If you're disappointed, go take 15 minutes. Go find a nice, quiet, secluded spot. Take 15 minutes and cry. And yell. And scream. And safely pound your fist against the wall, right? Don't break your wrist. Do what you got to do for 15 minutes. And then pick yourself up. Dust yourself off and keep moving forward. Keep going after whatever it is that you want to go after. Your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, the things that people say you'll never have or never get. Go after them. Keep moving forward. Keep fighting through the disappointments. Keep convincing yourself, over and over again. Every time you're disappointed, that's all right. I'm going to take 15 minutes. This 15 minutes is going to be raw. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be for me. But once this 15 minutes is over, I'm getting back to work. I'm going after. I'm coming after you, right? I'm coming after that perfect relationship. I'm coming after, financial freedom. I'm coming after that job I want. And you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to put it back on you and show you that you made a mistake by denying me that loan, by denying me that interview, by denying me that date at Applebee's. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what you missed because I've got something to give to this world and I'm going to go give it. So how do you handle disappointment? Next time you're disappointed, you're sad, you're angry, you're feeling insecure, take 15 minutes. Go be by yourself. Let it out. Yell at the top of your lungs. Cry until there's no more tears to cry. Or until your 15 minutes is up. Because guess what? You got 15 minutes. And then you're picking yourself back up. And you're going to keep moving forward. And you're going to go get whatever it is you want. Because there is nothing that stands in your way except for you. All right? So go after it. Get after it. If you've made it this far, God bless you. 17 minutes, 17 some odd minutes into listening to me. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you women. I appreciate you all. It just, this is for me doing this podcast. Just really, it motivates me. It stimulates me. It inspires me. And if nobody was listening, then, I might be a little disappointed and then I'd have to go take my 15 minutes and cry, but I appreciate you. Keep it up. Obviously, you can check me out on Facebook, right? Facebook.com/Conquering Everest. You can find me at ConqueringEverest.com. If you'd like to leave a comment, download the Podbean app, right? Find my podcast. You can find the episode you want to leave a comment on. I will reply. And I hope there's a day where I'm eating those words, right? When I say I will reply, I hope there's a day there's like 5,000 comments. Because I will, to that day, I will still answer every one of them. But we're not there yet. We'll get there, right? We'll get there. A whole lot of love and motivation to share with the world. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe, give it a thumbs up, throw it out on social media, whatever it is you can do to let the world know Conquering Everest is here. All right? All right. Until next time, keep climbing.